So like I mentioned, I'm talking about the Rotary International Convention. So it was the 107th Rotary International Convention. It was held May 28th through June 1st in Seoul, South Korea. In 1910, Rotary's first convention drew 60 attendees in Chicago. This year, more than 50,000 people visited Seoul. You can see photos there. That is from the opening ceremony on the right-hand side. You can just see how jam-packed it was in the Kintex. And then I also have a photo on the left side of the flag ceremony, which I'll talk about a little bit more. Let's step back for a second, though. Take a look at this photo. This Chinese Jupiter is believed to be 750 years old. It's 5.6 meters in height and 5.9 meters in circumference at its widest. This tree is located in South Korea. This tree is 750 years old, and it's a good way of reminding us about our roots as well. So back to our roots, a little history about Rotary. Paul P. Harris, an attorney, wanted to create a professional group with the same friendly spirit that he felt in the small towns of his youth. On February 23, 1905, Harris and 3 others gathered at an office in downtown Chicago. This was the first Rotary Club meeting. So why are we called Rotary? Well, they decided to call the club Rotary after the practice of rotating meeting locations. This photo is of the first 4 Rotarians. At the Rotary International Convention, we were treated to a surprise visit from Paul Harris himself, reminding us that Rotary is a door to the friendship. So let us throw it open. We're going to watch this video if I can get it to play.
And a convention gives us an opportunity like no other to work together in friendship towards our future. For as Paul Harris once said, Rotary is the door to friendship and lets us throw it open. Who's that? Who is that? Paul Harris? Is it you? Technology, look at him. Is that you, Paul?
You should call me Paul.
Yeah, I am.
Don't we Rotarians always greet each other as friends, first names only? What an incredible event. Through the years, I've been to many Rotary conventions, I tell you, but looking out there, must be over half the Rotary world. Korea, you say? I believe it's my first time here. I recognize the feeling, though, being with Rotarians, having fun, sharing views, a diverse group for certain. But see those down there, renewing old friendships. Many of you, I'm sure, are making new acquaintances. We've always called this fellowship. I do believe we developed something quite magical. This marriage of friendship, values, and service. And who, my friend, would you be?
Oh, me? I'm Ravi Ravindran, president of Rotary International.
And you're from?
Sri Lanka, you knew it as Ceylon.
Ah, Asia, yes. Presidents from Asia, conventions such as packed with Rotary ambassadors of goodwill, leaders of commerce and cause, all locked arm in arm. Rotary has been a gift to the world, hasn't it?
That's gift to the world. That's our theme this
Your
year.
theme? What's happened to service above self?
Oh, yeah, that's still there. Don't worry about that.
Service above self. Yes, service that unites us all. That gentleman from Kenya there, he's the one who brought water to his town in Africa, isn't he? And there, that woman, with the idea to deal with malaria, so she connected many clubs with companies who could help. And all those young people over there delivered medicines, didn't they? To prevent disease in children? It is a gift, Ravi. You're right.
And now Rotary is a gift all over the world.
Rotary spanning the globe. What a celebration this is for me. Such feeling, such satisfaction I have. This Rotary program of friendship and service, it certainly has succeeded way beyond the dreams of that first little group of ours back in Chicago, I tell you. But through the years, I know we believe that this little club could become a great movement with the ability and the power to change the world.
Paul, but he's gone.
So I show you that video and I go back to our roots because I feel it's very important to remember where we came from to know where we're going in the future. And honestly, I hadn't heard the full story of why Rotary was called Rotary, and so I thought it would be important to share that. The ceremonies took place in the building on the left side there. That's called the Kintex. This building was huge. It had 10 halls and 40 meeting rooms. It was very, very big. The theme of our convention was Connect with Korea, Touch the World. These banners lined the roads as you came into the city as a way to welcome Rotarians into Korea. We also watched the traditional flag ceremony. This convention was one of the largest in Rotary history, representing 150 countries. The flag ceremony was very neat. The kids that brought up the flags would go from the middle of the room, they would say every country that was represented, and then walk them up to the front. And then they dispersed onto two different sides. I went up to the front because, well, that's what I do, and I went right up there and took a picture because I wanted to be able to show how neat. It was really, really cool. Our Rotary International president spoke telling us, in dozens of countries, hundreds of projects, I have seen the countless ways that Rotary has been a gift to the world. When you serve to the very best of your abilities, when you hold your Rotary work to your highest professional standards, when you never content yourself with saying, I did the best I could, but always ask yourself, how could I have done more? The photos on the left side of the screen are of our Rotary International president during his speech. On the right side, that was the United Nations Secretary General. He spoke at our opening ceremonies telling the audience that we were this close to ending polio because of Rotary's great work. He said, Rotarians do remarkable work around the world. You help the United Nations reach our goals, and you help the world understand the United Nations. We also enjoyed the President's Recognition Luncheon, in which time the Rotary International president acknowledged all of those that were serving as presidents for the year, and he also explained a little about his time at the helm. One of the things that he discussed was the four-way test. As you're most likely aware, in 1932, Rotarian Herbert Taylor started the four-way test. The test has been translated into more than 100 languages and asks the following. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Our Rotary International president asked during this luncheon, what would be your five-way test? And I couldn't help but smile as he was saying this to us. Because in our club, we all know the answer to this. In fact, we started recently saying, what would be our five-way test? And the fifth one was, will it be fun? So I thought that was pretty interesting that at this convention, our Rotary International president happened to say, what would be your five-way test? And here we are in Little Twin Falls, Idaho, already doing that. The Rotary International Convention was all about fellowship, connecting with new friends, meeting new people. The photo on the left side. This is our new friend from India. He's an exporter. He joined us during this luncheon. Josh and I had a great discussion with him. He was fabulous. It's just a great way of meeting new people and listening to them about their club, what their club does, how they run. Some of them were presidents currently. Some of them were president-elects to be. Some of them were members. Many were in the district governor positions. So it was really a great way of learning more about those clubs. And the photo on the right side, that's my husband and I. And we're standing in front of they had a great Rotary sign up there. Couldn't help but take that photo. And of course, I couldn't go to the Rotary International Convention without coming back with my paparazzi shot. The arrow there is pointing to me in this photo. Many thanks to my husband for fulfilling my request to take a picture with our Rotary International president. Unfortunately, this is as close as I got to standing next to him for a photo, but I had a lot of fun, so maybe next time. We also explored the House of Friendship. This gave us a chance to learn about other Rotary Club projects and also to exchange our Rotary flags. So the photo there shows a gentleman from Japan. This is his flag that he exchanged with me. and we have the documentation of that photo. And what's really, really neat is you can see all the flags hanging in the background of all the folks who exchanged from different clubs. We also exchanged 2 other flags with folks from Korea.
Tell them about the Japanese guy knowing about Idaho Potatoes.
Oh, yes. My husband tells me, he's my backseat driver over here. When we exchanged with him and we said where we were from, he basically said, "Oh, Idaho Potatoes? Oh, wonderful." So, I mean, and this is just the way it went. It was really neat. What I think is really cool is, as I mentioned, the other flags that are hanging. So our flags now, our Twin Falls, Idaho flags, were exchanged with these other folks, and they're now hanging across the whole world from us. It's wonderful. So I'll be putting these with the rest of ours. During the general sessions, we were told that Rotary started its 2015-16 fiscal year with the 2nd highest membership in its history. To reach a new record, Rotarians must make a special effort to attract members. Among the remarks, they said, "Be creative in engaging new members and enriching the membership experience for your fellow Rotarians, because without members, there would be no Rotary. And without our Rotary Foundation, Rotary would not be anything like the great organization that it is today." Well, let's talk about some of the fun things that we got to do along with our convention. Here's some of our adventures. I like to take photos, so you'll get a lot of photos during this part. My husband and I were able to explore Korea. We visited the North Seoul Tower at 236 meters. It marks the highest point in Seoul. It's a communication and observation tower. Built in 1971, the North Seoul Tower is Korea's first general radio wave tower, providing TV and radio broadcasting in Seoul. Really, really neat. We actually went up and had lunch on the middle part there, which is a rotating restaurant, which I believe they have the same sort of thing in Seattle, where it rotates around, and it gives you a 360-degree view of the city. Funny, when we got there, my husband and I thought, gosh, it sure is foggy today. We are used to having very clear conditions where we live, and we're very, very fortunate for that. In fact, you can see all the way to the mountains around us. When we got off the airplane in Korea, it's just not like that. It looks very hazy and almost like a fog is kind of constantly in the air. So from up top, we were able to see a lot. I think if we were in Idaho, we would have seen a lot more, but that's their weather conditions. We also explored a special flower garden that was a display that was set up just for Rotarians. It was just beautiful. The one on the right side there, they had the Rotary wheel up. They had this all set up just for us Rotarians. It was very hot when we went and explored that day. It was right along this lake, and it was beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah. So these pictures represent to me a reality check. So this is the border of North Korea and South Korea. That building that you see in this photo is on the North Korea side. At the same time as we were on the tour, they were also giving a tour on the opposite side. You can see the little people on the left side of that, very tiny. That's their tour that they were doing on the North Korea side. Those blue buildings are where they have attempted peace talks between the two. We were allowed into the building on the left side. And actually, when you go into that building, you can technically stand in both the North Korea and the South Korea border. Those soldiers in the photo, they're standing in a half taekwondo stance, and they stand like that to intimidate the North Korea soldiers. It was very tense at the border. They had a lot of rules. You weren't allowed to wave. You weren't allowed to point. And I'll tell you what, no one wanted to break those rules because we were all scared. But it was very interesting. We also visited this palace, which was constructed for the 5th king as a detached palace in 1405. We took a tour of the secret garden. The secret garden is exquisite. Unlike the traditional sense of most gardens, this secluded and wooded garden had multiple purposes. Not only as a venue for banquets and military drills conducted in the presence of the king, uniquely, the king and queen also engaged in farming and raising silkworms. Thought that was pretty neat. And we explored the city of Seoul while we were there. My husband and I did a lot of walking. We saw a lot of things. So you can see in the photo here, on the right side, that's right in downtown Seoul. So that's a photo of the city. Interestingly, all three of these photos are taken in the same spot. They're in the same block. So the photo in the center is a bronze statue of an emerald. And then you can see in the background the palace. There's a statue of a king right in the front. And like I mentioned, we were all in the same vicinity. I thought that was pretty cool. At the conclusion of our adventures, we wrapped up the Rotary International Convention with closing ceremonies. At this time, Rotary International President-elect John Jerem said, "Every day that you serve in Rotary, you have the opportunity to change lives. Those opportunities might look small. You sometimes might think that what you do doesn't matter, but it does." We also received a little concert from a guy named Psy. Has anyone ever heard of the singing sensation named Psy? No? Okay, well, you're going to. So he did a performance for us, and I just have a short video for you. This is on my video, so.
Let me see you dancing.
Right? It's over. So I will tell you, that was a lot of fun. That song was stuck in my head the whole next couple of days. And we were out there, I don't know if you could really see it, but people were getting into this. They were dancing up a storm. It was pretty neat at our closing ceremonies to have someone like that. Now, the interesting point, and I think a part of the reason why they brought him in, his grandfather actually was a Rotarian. So it was a great connection. He's from Korea, and it was a wonderful way to kind of have a little fun at those closing ceremonies. They had great performances from some more of the cultural folks as well, but I thought that one would be a fun video to show. Oh, hold on a second. Okay. So our Rotary International president reminded us, there are people on this planet whose lives are better now because you traverse the earth. And it doesn't matter if they know that or not. It doesn't even matter if they know your name or not. What really matters is that your work touched lives, that it left people healthier, happier, and better than they were before. I want to show you this one last video. So there we go. What you do every day really does matter. Since this is my last official meeting, I want to just say thank you. It's been a wonderful year. I hope that I've provided some humorous entertainment along the way. I really have appreciated everything, and I'll be passing the gavel over to Deb on July 6th, but I will not be here next week as I have some training. So that's my presentation. Wonderful, wonderful time at Rotary International Convention. If I can encourage you to go, please do. It is absolutely fabulous, and it makes me more proud to be a part of this organization and to be a part of what we do every day. If you have any questions, thank you. Thanks, Jill. Yay! You guys are... I appreciate it. Thank you. It's really flattering. I really do appreciate it.